Welcome to On the Apps, the dating podcast. I'm Julian, a comic in New York City, and this is...
Robin, Julian's wife.
And sorry, Julian, you always do that. I don't want people to know we're married.
No.
No, and a lawyer and many things, and very funny, and an
feeder.
expert. And we are here with...
Sarah Barnitt. I am also a comic in New York City.
Yes. And I saw in a thing, you're doing a roast soon. You do a lot of roasts. You're like a roast king.
Yes,
roast queen.
I am a roast king, and this is my first dating hot take, if I can say
can
that.
jump
Here's
straight
my
in.
first problem with the apps. Okay, I am a comic. I do a lot of roast comedy. I very much enjoy it, and I always get dudes on the apps either in their bio that says the hallmark of a perfect relationship is a good flirt to roast ratio,
Yeah.
or they'll just message me and be like, could you roast me? And I'm just like, you know, and I think you should leave when Tim Robinson's like, you sure about that? You know, I'm just like, the next one coming up, I think, is Wednesday at New York Comedy Club, Stamford.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw. But so you have in your profile that you do roast, so they just said that randomly?
I don't have it in my profile. I think guys just say it when they find you're a comedian, or they just have it on their profile as like that
Can you
prompt.
roast? It's
If
funny
they go
'cause
to your Instagram, they'll see
If
you
they do, and I
roasting.
have seen people be like, oh, I've seen clips of you before. And I'm like, what a great first impression from me.
then you look at it like it's weird. You didn't like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You didn't follow? Okay.
wow.
Okay. So no, afraid of commitment. Okay, understood. But the flirt to roast ratio, girls say that a lot on. I guess I didn't know guys said it. I always thought it was
I say
something.
it too, yeah.
Which is such a. But you're so right,
But
especially.
the girls tell me they don't want actual smoke either. You know what I mean?
No,
yeah.
no one does.
No one should actually be mean to their partner.
It's true, yeah. That's like, I mean, well, like, you can have
You can have a playful
good-natured
thing.
banter, but yeah, it would be weird.
It would be weird.
That
It's
way.
very funny. It's just very funny to see. I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna. You want me to roast you? Okay, let me write for 6 hours and like figure out. Let me learn about your life. Let me like draw a conclusion. And I don't think that's what they're going for on the date.
No.
And you're just like, oh, I got 10 more of these. You can't
Yeah.
spare out now.
What do you mean you're done and you don't want to do this anymore? Like, I'm
Round
just
one.
getting started. Like,
I actually have a letter from your ex-fiance.
Come out here. You're like,
Track down your mom. She's
do you think
very
that's a good
disappointed.
business idea? Is just like women can hire you to go on dates with their ex and just destroy their ego. I think that would be a pretty fun idea.
I mean, it would definitely be the basis for a rom-com.
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely.
because then
sure.
they fall in love
And
and
then
actually.
they fall in love. Because they're like, sure, her heart is ice cold. You're like, listen, I've given up on love a long time ago. I'm married to comedy, but I need to serve my girls. And then he comes in, he's perfect, and he can give it back. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've never felt this way before. Like,
Can you imagine?
and then he keeps a man as a human dog, and that's... Sorry, we had a conversation off mic about a very scary movie. about that.
No, we didn't. Sarah just said that out of the blue. It's super weird. I feel very worried as I'm the only man here, and I am wearing a collar. First of all, can you imagine if you paid a woman to destroy your ex's life and then she fucking married him? I'd be like, breach of contract.
Then you'd have to hire two more women to ruin their wedding.
And then a man, and they keep falling in love. I'm like,
You're like,
maybe
no,
I was the
maybe I
problem. People keep did I ruin this?
Are either of you guys aware of there was a woman who did like a 60 segment TikTok about how she fell in love with her psychiatrist?
I have been watching YouTube videos about this for the past 2 days.
And
yes.
Basically, the first half, you're just like, you need therapy, and then you learn that she has a therapist, and you're like, oh, you need a different therapist.
Her therapist.
Wait, she fell in love with the therapist or the
No, her
psychologist?
psychiatrist.
Okay.
Yeah, so she had this she had, I think, ADHD, so she wanted to get meds, and her psychiatrist was like an attractive guy, and so she was like saying how she had a crush on him and fell in love with him. The one problem, and like was kind of like persistent, and she had another therapist who was kind of egging her on, being like, you should tell him, I want to know. And her therapist is being messy, and
Messy.
she told
Pretty messy, yeah.
She told the guy that she had a crush on him, and the only thing I will give her is that he should have said you should see a different psychologist.
Just right then.
But she's crazy. She's like, I told him about all these intimate details, and he didn't stop me. And I would only see him on Zoom, but then I found out that he was seeing clients in person, and I felt betrayed. And then the thing is, she talked to ChatGPT about this man a lot. She and ChatGPT would all day, and ChatGPT would just validate her.
Of course.
And so she actually went into AI psychosis.
Is that a thing now?
God. I think there's something because I've heard it now about this with an AI, but also about multiple people falling in love with their AI spouse or partners.
Yeah.
And then also somebody, I think a kid killed himself.
Trying to make sure Robin's real.
After talking to an AI.
Really?
Yeah.
But it is too affirming. I use it a bit at work. Robin hates it because she's very anti-AI.
Yeah,
but just for
very
like, I'll be like, oh, come up with some headlines, or here's an idea I have for like a segment.
I've used it for work sometimes, yeah.
And then it'll be like, great idea, Julian. And I'm like, it is a great idea. And it's like, and then it'll say like, what's amazing about your idea is you've combined the nuance of this strategy with the boldness of a big proclamative line. And I'm like, thank you. I showed my boss, he's like, this is bad. I'm like, you don't understand me. ChatGPT is the only one who understands me.
In my industry, it's rampant because I work in IT consulting, and so we have a lot of we basically staff engineers, project managers to do IT for companies that have big IT problems, and so engineers will use it for code generation, and they are like, and our kind of like engineering leaders are like, yeah, it puts code that doesn't work. Like one guy who's like, I tried it to see because some of my engineers are using it, and it gave a line of code like I know, as in it wouldn't work. So it's like, and then so the other thing, I'm in kind of more like the strategy side, so it's something I get a lot of very vague stuff that's like, can you do a value stream analysis for this? And I'm like, I don't know what that company does. Okay, so now I have to figure it out. So my industry has become very reliant on AI, and I think that is going to be a challenge because we're promising that it can do all this stuff and like selling it to the clients. I don't think it can.
I think it's kind of two fears.
It can only do an amalgamation of what we all
already
do.
know.
But also you ask, because I do like light coding stuff. I built a website and I used AI, and it was right. I would play it wouldn't work, and eventually it will kind of work. But it's the kind of thing that maybe it won't work with like mobile phones or something. Or it won't work on a certain display screen, and it's like, okay, so you need someone who actually knows how to use it. Actually, knows how to code. So I think it will hit a limit, hopefully, and not just become a better stand-up comic than all of us.
No.
I met a very annoying middle-aged man going through a divorce who was handling his own divorce with AI as an attorney, and I was like, good luck to you, sir.
No.
He was divorcing a federal prosecutor, and I was like, you're fucked, dude. And I'm glad for it. He was awful.
What do you guys, I've not mean to like bring it back to date, what do you guys think of, I have heard of people using AIs to optimize their dating profiles.
Oh.
Yeah, well, in general, I think it is
used.
helpful sometimes for writing tone, like just literally like it's like, what's another way of saying this, and it can do 100. But that's one thing it is actually good at. What's very bad at is facts and things like that. So, but when you give it to it again, it just be like, great dating profile, Julian. Yeah. You're handsome and kind. And I'm like, oh.
You've used it before. Like somebody had written you to ask a question about openness, and you were like, what would ChatGPT say? And you did ChatGPT. I did the Chinese one. Yeah. And they said the same, and ended up saying like close to the same thing, and they were good answers.
What it's good at is if you like, it's hard to put things on paper when you have to actually tell it to a human. So what I would just be, bullet points are easy. So I'm like, here are the 8 things I kind of want to cover, and then it'll put that into a pretty nice sentence, and then or paragraph, and then you kind of rework it. But what I find very funny is like on our end, we'll put the 4 bullet points of some really fancy, and we'll be like, say this in a really fancy client-facing way, and it'll have all this like bullshit that sounds fancy, but it's kind of vague. And then the client will see it, and they're probably putting it in the ChatGPT, being like, can you please summarize this into 4 bullet points?
Yeah,
so we should just send the 4 bullet points and stop giving chat any work.
True.
Have you used AI on your dating profile?
No. I think I definitely have seen some. Well, I don't even know if it's AI or if there's, because I know you guys probably aren't in this whole like world on like social media. As like a single woman specifically, I served a lot of dating content on my Instagram and my TikTok, and I've started to notice either with men's profiles I'm seeing, some things are kind of, or the way that they're opening it's either either they used AI or they're all getting like fed or coached a specific way to like how to open the like
conversation.
They'll send a long, like there'll be like a long mess, like I don't know. I saw one person be like on my friend's profile, like, "Hi Claire, like, you know, your smile is so beautiful. And have any good upcoming trips? I'm planning on a trip for this." And I'm like, it just seems like it's all like kind of like a manufactured thing of like ways to fill out the profile. I hope people aren't actually using AI to optimize their profile, because I feel like then that takes away the point of it, because it's all about like showing who you are, you know?
But if you're not using, but is that the same thing to be said if you use AI, or if I just use a girl I know to do it? You know what I mean? And you know when you see some guys like fix my profile and the girl's like, oh my God, this is all wrong.
It's different. Yeah, you know, that is interesting. You're right. It's like, 'cause we do all kind of outsource the stuff to our friends and try and see how they perceive it, but Yeah.
But you're right. You kind of want to be authentic. It's so hard with dating because it's like, be your authentic self. It's like, well, not like that, obviously. It's gross.
Hide that.
I went on a date the other day, and I think I was a little bit too much. And to be honest, he had a very fun time. I was laughing a lot, but he did not text me back. So, but it's fun.
Did you text him? I always find this funny. So, okay, girls always, he never texted me back. You mean he didn't text you? You got to start.
Yeah,
but you don't have to start.
yeah, but the thing is, I was like, it was one of those where you're like on the fence. Like, he seemed really good on the profile, and then we met, and I'm like, like, when somebody sits in, like, their voice and their personality aren't exactly what you thought, and they don't, I'm like, it was really fun, mostly because, like, I don't know, I was bringing up a lot of very entertaining stories that I had from just, like, the world of comedy. And he was like a comedy fan. He was like asking me a bunch of questions. But then when I tried to like transition, and he was a software engineer, so I tried to transition into talking about work. And I was like, well, I also work in tech and like do this. I'm a PM, so I get what you're doing. And then he was kind of like, it felt a little bit, once I started kind of talking about having another career that was similar to his, I feel like he was kind of like, okay, I don't know what that was. But
is he older or younger?
Couple years older.
I did see a thing recently. Was I talking to you about that? Which is like they talk about the life. There was a clip going around the life cycle of a New York City club, and it starts off and it's like just the artist, and it's really cool. And then all the software on tech and rich people come in because they want to be around the artists, and then it's all tech people, and then they're sick of being around tech people, so it shuts down.
Yeah.
My point being, his attitude is like, oh, this artist, this comedian, that's really fun, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I do what you do. He's like, oh, I got enough of that.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he felt a little jealous of, or like threatened by
it might have been
success?
it could have been. I hate because people also say so nice women who have good careers, like they're intimidated. I'm sure they probably are a little bit, but I don't know, maybe he whatever.
Statistically they are.
I don't know, but
there's truth in it, but it is very funny to be like, he was jealous. You know what I mean? It's me being like, that girl was definitely gay.
I don't know. I'm always like, it was my eyes are too far apart. You know what I mean? I always go to like, I was too ugly for this person, which is like probably as a roaster. I always go there. I was like, I got this thing.
No, but it's also incorrect because like they decided they were attracted to you when they saw your profile.
I know.
It's your personality.
I know, it was everything you said and the way you are. Your face is fine. It's the rest of you that you need to work. It's weird. It's so weird, like dating, especially as someone who like has a day job and a night job. It almost feels like dating is sometimes something that I just need to fit in. Yeah. And sometimes if a date doesn't go well, if a date is bad, then I'm like, at least I have a story.
Yeah.
And if the date is good, it's like, oh, at least there's potential. But if the date is just like mid, but you're not going to see them again, you're like, I could have gotten on stage. I could have done my laundry. I could have Do
you ever we were talking about this with Brett Druck when he was on about, he tries to, figure out where the date is going pretty early. Would you ever at 60 Minutes be like, we're calling it?
I think that kind of naturally happens, like depending on how it is. Normally it's, you get a drink or two and then it gets late. You're like, oh, I should probably go. I've never called it after an hour. I haven't.
No, I'm just trying to think. Because sometimes you're on it and you're like, do I give it more time? This really isn't fun.
I do think a first date God, go back to, there's so many of these dating rules now, and I'd love to talk to you guys about them to see how you're like feeling. But there's one that's like, one I do agree with is that a first date should be like 2 hours max, and you should probably only have like 2 drinks on a first date, which is how I also feel, because I'm like, it should just kind of be low stakes, and you also probably shouldn't drink too much with the person because you don't know them that yet, and it could cloud your judgment. So I actually do kind of live by that, where like, you get some quick drinks, you probably see if there's chemistry, maybe you kiss a little bit, I don't know, but I prefer a first date to be kind of like a lower stakes thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely the opposite. Famous for accidentally going on like very long first dates because I didn't know how to end them.
Yeah, I've been on a few of those too. And then sometimes it's fun. Sometimes if you're having a good time, like I'll do that too, but not these days, I don't, especially if it's from an app. Because it's somebody that if it's somebody that I like kind of knew already or met in person, it feels a little different. But if it's from an app and it's really like a stranger, then yeah, I try to keep it a little low-key.
Well, I mean, I get the safety thing. Obviously, I don't experience that as much, so it's weird. But as a guy, sometimes on a first date, you're like, I'm hoping still to get laid, even on this date. Which is like, are you doing that within the 2 hours? Or are you saying it's a short date and that's definitely not happening?
I think, for when I was doing a lot of first dates, which I'm not doing many now.
One or two just to see,
Yeah, we're open.
Oh,
so,
you are?
Yeah, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I thought you were like, because I'm going to leave his ass. And I'm just, okay, got it. Oh, wow.
No, and you were too cool with that. No. You were like, yeah, you should leave him.
You're like, and actually, you've been served. Okay, so yeah, how are you approach it?
Like if I know that I think I'm very into sleeping with somebody on the first date. So
I've done that many times. If I'm really feeling it, totally not against it. Because sometimes I'm just horny.
Yeah, and also like I just kind of want to know.
I want to know
if that's.
Here's a rule that I've been hearing about. So there are these. I think for women. If you're watching dating content, our least horny women are making the rules for the rest of us. I'm seeing these very famous podcasters and this one podcaster who I listen, and this is probably keeping toxic energy in my body, but she says it's a podcast called We Met at Acme, and she's very successful. She's not going to see me talk about her, but she is somebody who she's had this dating podcast for forever, but she's somebody who acts like she knows everything because she's married, and she's just like, when I met my husband and everything's like that. I'm like, you're not an expert on this because you're in a good you can talk about it, but you shouldn't be like, this is what you have to do. No. And she says you shouldn't sleep with them for 6 dates. And then I listened to this other podcast from Matchmaker who said 12 dates. And her thing is like, well, a phone call can be a date, like a FaceTime can be a date. It can be 20 minutes, but less than 2 hours. Like, it's a whole thing. I'm like, 12 dates?
What in the world?
Do you have a genital? And also in New York, 12 dates, you're legally married.
Yeah.
I
think that, those rules might make a lot of sense in a small town where you're like, if you're going on a date, it's already kind of serious because it's like, he probably knows somebody who knows you, who knows.
But in New York, it's like everyone's dating so much. It's like,
well, 12 makes sense nowhere.
Yeah, 12 is crazy. Unless you're counting a text as a date.
But the reason I don't like it is what they're trying to prevent, which I get. They're afraid, and it's kind of true. Like, a guy might go on one date with you and he wants to sleep with you, but doesn't know you. Haven't formed an emotional connection, and maybe you have sex, and then he's like, oh well, I'm not going to bother seeing her again. That's what you're trying to prevent. But then the alternative is like, you're not tricking, but like, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, why would you want to go on 12 dates with him?
The other thing too is like they say, protect your heart, like just not get attached to somebody too quickly and make sure they're in it for the right reason, which just makes sense. But I'm like, I don't think you need that long to do it, especially because it's like, well, and here's what I think it is, and I think they're very much underestimating women's sexuality in this, because I think people assume, well, women, like, you can wait because you're not really in it for sex, you're in it for something deeper, something emotional, you need to protect your heart. And for me, I'm like, listen, I am a very sexual person. Like, I want to know how it's gonna, because I mean, if it's bad the first time, you can work on that, but like, I don't know, if you do something in bed that I really don't like the first time, or you don't communicate, or I have an STD, so I have to tell people about it. If you act bad to that, like, I don't want to prolong that.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And people who get married and never had sex, and then the sex is bad, and they're like, oh, I guess.
That's a whole plot on Sex and the City.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Charlotte gets married, and she says she wants to save because it's like romantic, and then he can't get it up.
Oh, and that's a very common problem with men. It's so common.
Oh, God. I feel like it's increasing. I feel like
people don't.
It's bad.
I think it's not talked about enough. So when one of my male friends will have it, they're like so ashamed. And then I talk to a woman, she's like, half the guys.
Yeah. So many men. It's really an epidemic. Like, it's a very, very common problem. And you wouldn't want to be 12 dates into somebody. Like, 12 dates, you could meet somebody's parents by 12 dates.
Yeah, I mean, that could be 3 months, that could be 6 months, depending on how often you see each other. So I'm just like, I think that's where it comes from. And I think it's still the idea that even though, and I don't want to be like, there's a double standard, because it's like, we do have a lot of freedom now in expressing our sexualities and stuff, but it still feels a little shamey, like, you dirty fucking slut, you want to sleep with them on the first,
you like sex?
You like that, you want to protect your, you need to protect your fragile girl heart, and you can't let a dick break your back.
And you know that your heart is actually in your vagina.
Yes.
Your heart is actually your hymen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. I broke a hymen.
You're not a virgin.
But it's like both sides are doing, because it's kind of saying, women don't like sex and men don't like women. So it's like,
every rule that I see a lot of too that are, and I worry that I'm falling down this pipeline as a woman who does have a lot of insecurity about the fact that I've been single for a few years, that I'm not in a relationship, that it feels like it's harder for me to get something to stick. Because the thing that I do run into is that, like, people are pretty happy to sleep with me, but I haven't made it stick in a while. And even people who will hang around me and sleep with me for months are still like, but you're not my girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'm just like, That would be crazy. You know, that would be insane. Not that we're hanging out every weekend and sleeping over, and I hang out with your friends all the time, but your girl, whoa, like nuts, dude. So I do like. Part of me feels like it's a deficit that I have that I really need to fill. So I do like see this stuff, and there's other content that's like, in order to get him to commit, you have to be unbothered, you have to be focused on yourself, don't match his energy. So it is really reinforcing to women that by default, men do not want to be with a woman. You have to kind of trick them, and you have to do X, Y, and Z. And for men, it's saying that, like, you know,
women don't want to sleep with you.
Women don't
you
want
have
to
to
sleep
trick them.
You have to, yeah. So it's like, I think it's extremely toxic right now, and I'm thinking about kind of figuring out some kind of series I can do about, like, kind of making it funny about, like, how people are kind of getting radicalized like this. I don't know. It's weird. It's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, everyone's getting radicalized by their little algorithm echo chamber.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I do see the anger on both sides. Where like I get these incel culture, they're getting angry because like these women won't fuck me, and they get mad and mad. And I don't know. The women don't seem to destroy the country as much when they don't get laid.
Yeah.
But I guess the equivalent is like, I'm having sex, but these guys won't stay with me, and that's fucking annoying. So if this book says 12 dates, I'll do 12 dates, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem also is just it's the fact that we have like inserted internet culture into our dating. So now most of the time you meet somebody, it's online, and in that space, like it is true that there are guys who sign up and they get 0 matches.
Yeah.
And they're like, and it is this weird numbers game where some guys get a ton of matches and some guys get none, and then where women get all sorts of like insanity in their
New York
inbox.
is, and I was just talking to someone from San Francisco about this, and he was like, "Why are you not moving to San Francisco? There's more dudes."
There's so many
He's
dudes,
like, "You could find a guy who makes $500,000 a year, lives and works remote, whatever." I'm like, "That's true." I'm like, New York is more women. I'm like, dude, I know. A lot of my energy is spent worrying, am I desirable enough to men? And he's like, that is New York. I swear to God,
that
being here, where it is just the biggest concentration of very beautiful, very high achieving women that makes all women feel like we're not enough to get a partner. Whereas anywhere else where there's just slightly less like excellent people, then it's easier. Which I'm like, I guess that is true, and I guess that is the price we pay.
It's not just easier, it changes the culture. So there's a book about this, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but this guy who looks at these gender... one place where it happens a lot is colleges. Where most colleges have more women in them than men. Yes. Women are going to college more. And the dating culture there is more of a hookup culture. Yeah. It's more, but if you go to some tech schools,
my friend, you guys know Dan Wicks. He was saying how he went to engineering school, and it was like 4-to-1 dudes or whatever.
And that culture of dating is very different. But
they're trying to lock them down.
Yeah, they try to lock them down. So they have like men like there was some tech school in California where like it's a tradition for the men to just like make their female colleague classmates Valentine's Day. So it's like a very and that happens also in cities. Yeah. So when there are gender imbalances, it really becomes not just a numbers game, but it changes the culture around dating. Yeah. Though it does seem like when there are more men than women, that the culture of like lock her down, protect her, it's also problematic.
So here's what we gotta do, guys. Here's what we gotta do. We gotta get like 20% of these bitches who live in New York right now.
Get them out of here.
It is.
I'm coming out as anti-woman on this pod. It's tough. I'm getting so vulnerable on this pod. I swear I'll be funny in a second. It's tough. The dating culture has truly made me feel, and this is not in action in people that I know, but it is the general sense of other women are my competition. That's how I feel sometimes, especially because, I, in my history, have either had, crushes on or flirty relationships with, or God forbid, once or twice, physical interactions with men who had girlfriends. And I either didn't know or, like, I'd flirt with a guy and he'd have a girlfriend but then still flirt. So I'd be like, I have kind of, over the past few years, had been conditioned to feel like, oh, actually, no, they're not going to pick me. They have the girlfriend. fuck her. You know what I mean? Even though I don't know her. I don't know anything about her. She seems like if I'd met this woman, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we would have a good time drinking wine, talking about the Real Housewives. Like, there's absolutely...
You guys would end up forming a gang against him and ruining his life.
And yeah, exactly. That it would be the Taste music video by Sabrina Carpenter, but it started to feel like that now. So it feels like it's pretty bleak. But the positive side too is that like we are in New York. There are millions of people. It's not like the gap is so big that it's not, you know, I started to tend to think of dating more as a game of musical chairs, and my therapist is like, that's not actually how it works.
But it does feel like everyone's just kind of like passing.
Or like a scoreboard of like, well, this girl has X amount of attributes and I don't have these things, so I need to improve myself. She's like, that's not how people pick partners. And I'm like, well, it fucking seems like it, Rachel. It fucking seems like we're all just a little bit, we're just, you know, distilled down to like height, weight, face, job, and it seems like that even though it's not, you know?
Well, so the guy who wrote this book, he has a couple date strategies for women in order to like overcome this, aside from just moving. So the things that he said is you can broaden your dating pool in two ways that are really actually helpful.
Age and geography?
Like non-toxic. Age is one, so dating younger.
I was thinking it's time to go up.
No.
All women
Absolutely do not date older. Gen Z and older Gen X and older millennials are fucked. Don't date them.
My general age range is pretty, I'm 30, so the youngest I have is 28, and I think the oldest I have is 40.
Knock it down to 25.
Okay.
So the reason why is because
younger guys do, I will say, sometimes a younger guy is fun.
They're fun, and it eliminates this thing that like men are just not, or statistically men that are the same age or older than their partners are not happy when they succeed. When they have.
But a younger guy's like, wow. You know?
Like,
I like this a lot.
And they're not personally threatened by your success because it would make sense for somebody who's a little bit ahead of them to be a little bit more
and
successful.
And that I would just have to make sure, because I would just have to make sure that, you know, that they are still, because I do not want to be anyone's mother.
Oh,
you know,
100%.
But
you could become a 45-year-old man's mother.
That
true. Has absolutely nothing to do with their age.
I do think it is, when I am in my 40s, I'm like, I do think I will have a pool boy era. Absolutely. I was born for that. You know what I mean? I actually might. I think I am going to knock it down to 25 because I'm like, okay, you said you can become a 45-year-old man's mother who's just been doing that his whole life.
You absolutely can.
You're right. That's a good perspective shift.
And the other way he says to broaden your dating pool is to date guys who did not go to college. Because I totally am fine with that. I think I went to college. I have we all have our jobs, but I'm like, we were all taught that was the only way to do it. And some people who did go to college are like doing better than we are. So if you're only dating college graduates, that means there's going to be like, I think two men to every 3 women. Which means you're automatically, so just broaden it. You can date people who are very successful, who make good money, who own businesses, who are smart and interesting, who don't have this thing that, and people, like, it feels like it's very...
Actually for me, it doesn't. Nowadays, I feel like we're all kind of learning that, like, college, I loved college. But
it's a joke.
But in terms of as a dating indicator, I don't necessarily think I have that because it really depends on, like, I'm not someone who's like, oh, well, he has to make more money than me. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I work in consulting. If I went out with a guy who, I guess this person was still at college, but he was like a teacher. Obviously, he's not going to have the same salary as me, but it's like, do you love teaching? Are you good at it?
Are you passionate?
I don't care then if you don't make that much money. Or like, I don't know, if you work in a trade, great. You know what I mean?
Can I say, that's the biggest misconception between men and women is like so many men, and like there are women who just want money, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the majority say exactly what you said. It's like, you can be the world's best janitor. I don't care if you care about it, if you're really, really passionate. And it's funny because every woman I've met has said that.
And I do think so I started comedy when I was 26. And I do think before that when I was dating, because most of my friends, most of my colleagues were all like college graduate, white collar professionals. So I assumed that was who I would end up with, just because I didn't have any people in my life, honestly, who didn't. And now, being an artist, half my friends didn't go to college because they had a different path. And,
my college was a waste in hindsight.
Yeah. So it's like that. No, that's really smart. That's really smart.
And then his other two pieces of advice are don't like to the extent that you can, don't date on the apps. Like meet people in real life. Have a friend of a friend introduce you to somebody.
That's the best way.
And he's like, because the culture of treating women like shit in a place where you have so many more women to choose from, that is kind of eliminated when you have some sort of social tie to them.
I've heard it's like, yeah, if your friend, even like your friend's boyfriend knows this guy,
there's going to be some bit of accountability.
At least I have to treat them with respect, or it's, to be honest, when I moved to New York, I was kind of newly single, and my two best friends here were like, just so you know, like I moved from Chicago where it was a bit easier to date over there. Honestly, because people are just more interested in like settling down, Midwest vibes. But then I moved to New York. My friends were like, just so you know, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to date. And then I literally go on one date with one dude, and we just keep going on dates. And I'm like, this guy's great. What are you this was easy. What are you talking about? Like, this is the first or second guy I went out with in New York, and we dated for like 9 months, and then we broke up. And I was like, so that's probably never gonna happen again, right? They're like, yeah, never. That was a glitch.
A fluke. Yeah. You were still like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Bushy-tailed, I know.
He could sense your weakness.
I know. I wasn't.
But yeah, it's just the right timing, finding the person who is looking for that at that time.
Taxi cab theory. That's
what?
Taxi cab theory.
Oh, yeah, like when
that's
you're
from Sex in the City.
There's another cab coming.
When you really need a cab, there's like no cabs.
Yeah,
and when you don't need one, there's so many.
Yeah, and like they say is that like a man is like a cab because when his light is on, he will open the door for the next person who gets in. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It's for a man. It's more deciding like when they're ready, when their light is on, which does sometimes perpetuate like, oh, they just picked her because he was ready. She's not. So it does, have some of that. But I do think it is true that like. With a man, because I always get in like, if he liked me enough, he'd commit. But I'm like, actually, no, he fucking wouldn't. You know what I mean? This dude you'd have to like them so much when you're like, if you're 23.
Yeah,
he still wants to go. He's 36, but anyway, he still wants to go fuck baristas he met at the Brooklyn Mirage, and no amount of me being really great and cool and a good hang and good in bed is going to change that because he still has that like desire to do that, which is annoying, but.
Yeah. Well, the thing you were saying about college educated in general, you didn't say it specifically, but it's like women attracted to men who are more successful than them. And I think the reason some men are so happy is like some wealthy men is they're like, oh, I can be very attracted to an unsuccessful
woman.
Yeah, who is 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And I think as women get more successful, which they are, and making more money, it's like the amount of people more successful than you is getting smaller and smaller. And we had a friend who just wouldn't date someone less successful, and I was like, well, it's a tiny. This woman was so successful. I was like, and a lot of those guys are probably not going to be super attractive. Yeah. Just statistically, I know, for whatever reason, it's like
they're not going to be single. Like if you need to date somebody who's making more than $400,000 a year, like that, your dating pool is minuscule. Now say how tall he's going to be. Like that, it just like.
Or you say they're looking for a man in finance.
Yeah.
Trust fund 6'5". They did a study and they're like, let's
like
look at. It's like there's like
people.
2 of them.
Yeah.
And actually, my first boyfriend in New York. Man in finance, trust fund, 6'4", blue eyes. And if you're single, come back. I'm just kidding.
Back.
He was an alcoholic and a gambling addict. So, we'll go by that.
Well, that's what that person. And that's my other problem with the way.
Exactly.
I think men and women both have priorities that are often wrong. But the amount of women I see, like their checklist is all these things which are not really conducive to being a good person or a good boyfriend. And then like, this guy's a piece of shit. I'm like, well, yeah, he's a 6'4" investment banker who's this and this. He has he's not nice. And as opposed to their first thing, been like, well, what if I just? And I see so many women who are older who have then been like, you know what? I'll find someone I like who doesn't have those things. I think they're happier.
Well, a lot of our romantic conditioning just hasn't caught up to the times. Like we're still encouraged to date somebody older, somebody more established, because like it used to be that you were never going to make as much money as a man.
Yeah.
And once you got married, you probably weren't going to be able to work, and you legally couldn't buy a home or open a bank account by yourself. So like you needed that, and we just. The things that we learn and are socialized to like as little girls has not caught up. Or maybe the kids coming up now will be different.
Yeah.
But it hasn't caught up to the fact that there are so many women, at least in New York City, who are just so successful with like kick-ass careers. And
if it weren't for this whole fucking comedy racket, I'd be out of here in a second. I know, but then people are like, you can do comedy anywhere. I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same.
No.
It's not New
I can
York.
do two shows a week.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Speaking of dating,
Yes.
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
We do a thing called dream date versus nightmare date.
Absolutely.
Describe your absolute dream date. And it's a first date, everything that happens, the person, where you go, what you do, what's your ideal dream date, and then we'll do, if you've had a nightmare date, or what a nightmare date would be for you.
Okay. My dream date. So in this scenario, Michael B. Jordan and his wife are divorced. And I was kidding.
Hell yeah.
No, I won't pick a celebrity. I'll just say
Michael B. Jordan is an
Michael
actual
B. Jordan
twin.
is-
Yeah, I was going to say, it's Sinners.
It's Sinners.
Michael B. Jordan's twin brother. Hello. Actually, well, I'm thinking about my type. You know, I don't really have a physical type, but I find the guys I've been into recently are like dudes who kind of look like, you know, they look a little shy. They got their glasses on. They look a little dark. They kind of given like Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
But I kind of like the ones where I can tell them like, oh, this is just kind of an act, and you're really a little aggressive. You're really
a little bad boy.
You're kind of playing this. You know what I mean? I like the
This is
nerdy
a
guys
Clark
with the dark.
Kent, almost.
I like nerdy dude with a dark side. That's what I like. Except Clark Kent saved
Yeah.
lives, but no.
What a pussy.
So
Bizarre.
that's. But I don't know.
Women
so
have the weirdest types. A
I
man's
know.
like, I like blonde, big boobs. Women are like, I like
this
a ghoul.
this like imprinted on me when I was a child. I think from some or fucking.
But every guy, that's such an insult like poster. They're always like, oh, I'm the nice guy you don't want to mess with.
No, not that. Not that.
You wouldn't want. I'm a bad boy, but I hide.
No,
my-
not that. Not that. You can tell the difference. But I don't know person type. But let's just say for a celebrity, sure, it's Michael B. Jordan. I don't
Okay.
know. I did see Sinners, so that's on my mind right now.
But what are you doing? What
What are
happens
we
on the
doing?
day?
I think it is fun to go. You know, it would be really fun. I think it'd be cool to go on like a little boat for a first date. If you're vibing, I think it'd be fun
Like
to
a
be on.
paddle boat, like the foot paddle boat.
Or like a ferry.
Like a
Cruise ship.
like a
3
little-
weeks.
Like it'd be fun. It'd be fun to like take a little ferry to the date and then go to like some kind of rooftop kind of thing.
So like Governor's Island. I guess that
maybe
doesn't have a rooftop.
I don't know, Staten Island. We're going to Staten Island. No, maybe,
Free
okay.
ferry.
Okay, maybe avoid the date avoid the boat logistically. That's not happening. Okay, rooftop. I think is
You
fun.
could take a boat. There's a very, very nice East River ferry. You take it from Wall Street. You get off at Brooklyn Bridge Park. You walk
Great.
around the park.
That's what we're doing. Walking around the park, and then we're going to a little rooftop. It's the summer. It's nice.
There's a beautiful rooftop.
Beautiful
that one
rooftop.
hotel there.
And
Okay.
then I think if it goes really well, and I'd like to extend it, the move would be you go to a dive bar and you get drunk and you do karaoke.
Oh, that's
I think that
cute.
would be really fun. And then maybe you sleep together after if you're not too drunk from the karaoke.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be if I'm really
A
vibing.
karaoke, like just the two of you in a room or in a big room?
I would say big room, not
So we're public.
public,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then you get to like.
Did you do a song?
I would do a song. Yeah.
Oh,
I have some-
what's your karaoke song?
I have a couple. It depends on how like brave I'm feeling. I do Wagon Wheel a lot because
That's
again,
classic.
everybody knows it. Taylor Swift, a lot from her catalog. Blank Space. We Are Never Getting Back Together.
Never Getting Back
Sometime-
Together would get everyone into it.
That would. That tests the dude if I'm singing Taylor Swift and he's like, ew. I'll be like, bye bye.
Yeah,
That's such an outdated
yeah.
opinion. Like when I
Yeah.
was like 16, I was like Taylor Swift, and now it's like, yeah, we like Taylor
Yeah,
Swift.
it's like no. I heard one of them. They're pretty good, you know.
I just don't like when men have strong opinions about women.
I know. I'm like,
Shut up.
what are you?
That's why I'm very
She's-
medium on
yeah.
you, Robin.
Medium, yes.
Could go either way.
Could go either way. Actually, you've been served.
Double serve.
But yeah, I think that would be fun because it just
That's
shows
a
like
great date. We should keep a
Yeah,
list
that
of
is
all
a
of these.
really good
This is a
date.
new segment we just
karaoke
started.
is fun, and I think that it's something that you also the person like you can't be embarrassed to sing badly, and that should be something that like is an enjoyable. And I think in the big group too, it's like you're more interacting with other people. You shouldn't do solo karaoke
that would be
together on a
awkward.
first date. That would be crazy.
Yeah, awkward.
No, okay. So it's funny, Robin. When we talked about your perfect first date last week, you
already
mentioned
forgot what I
you
said.
mentioned the nice cocktail bar to start. But I do love that idea of like start the nice one. We're very buttoned up, and then you get to go have fun at the dive
Unbutton your
bar.
shirt.
Yeah.
Go do a beer
Get
shot.
fully naked.
Yeah.
I think
That's a great date
also
idea.
anything that like makes you nervous or like and you get like this heightened like nervousness together of like, oh my god, I'm gonna go up and sing, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
And you do that together. I just think
You could do the start of something new duet from
Yeah.
High School Musical.
it kind of like forges you together in a way
But
that's
again,
very
this is all dependent. I like because it has to be going well. So you
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
And you decide that by the cocktail bar.
Yeah.
Or by the
Yeah,
rooftop.
yeah.
It would just be like you're already drunk, like it's late. What's great? I know this bar down the street. You want to do karaoke? Like, I fucking love karaoke.
My only feedback potentially is like the first date on the ferry because we had I think third date we took a ferry
I think
to.
I'm rethinking the ferry. I feel like
Sorry.
you're trapped on a boat now. So I'm going to change that because now I think that you are trapped. So I'm thinking maybe we just meet at Brooklyn Bridge Park. That's probably better.
That ferry is very nice. They have a little bar.
Maybe it's a third date.
You can sit on the roof of it. You can see like the
maybe
statue.
That's a third date.
But would you, if on a first date, would you feel weird? Because the other thing is you have to wait in that line, and because the good thing about a bar is you get a drink and there's stuff that can distract you while you're having that awkwardness.
No, I think that's fine because then you're seeing a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of things you can
people
talk
watching.
About. Yeah, it's like it's pretty busy down there. So I think and it's like. Yeah, I feel like that's a very low stakes thing. And then you get on the boat, it's literally like max 10 minutes from getting onto the boat to getting off of it. And you could sit, have the wind blowing in your hair, get a good look at him, see how he goes up and down stairs.
Critical.
Is that a thing?
No, but it's just like, it could be. It could be.
What if he goes up on all fours?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I have to go up these backwards. It's just something I do.
Like something I do.
Don't touch my butt. Hands up my butt, lady. Okay, that's a great.
I'd be like, would you like it too much? What's wrong with you?
I'm gonna come. No. One funny thing, karaoke. So me and Robert are open. I'm allowed to have sex with other people.
Oh, yeah.
If I took a girl to karaoke,
I'd be pretty upset.
she would be Robin.
That's more intimate.
That is. One time I went. It wasn't even a date. I just met a girl out and I was drinking. We stayed out late and I went to Times Square. Because she wanted to get photos, and Robert had mentioned it earlier the week, and we hadn't done it. And I was like, "Yeah, I met this girl, went to Times Square." Robin's like, "You did what?"
Yeah.
Robin's like, "Did you fuck her?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "But you went to Times Square."
Or you see a movie with them that you wanted to see. It's like, how dare you?
Like, you're kind of taking away from like fun things I could do with you because he doesn't sing, and he's like not a karaoke person. So I'm like, if you're gonna go to karaoke, you should be taking your wife.
Fair.
Though he's like not the most fun karaoke date.
Got it.
I'm not.
Nah, you don't sing, so.
Okay, first of all, this podcast is over. Okay? Why don't you two go to karaoke together? I hope the ferry crashes. Okay? I hope you hit an iceberg. You evil, vile woman.
An iceberg in the East River.
Yeah. It could happen.
Sarah's gonna have to watch me go up the stairs on all fours. So.
I'll do it too.
Yeah, you want to see how Robin goes up the stairs?
Oh, yeah. I've been waiting this
with her
time.
top off for some reason. It's a condition, not in a hot way.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Come on now.
Just bounces
Wait,
around.
so now I have to say nightmare date?
No, well, I mean, if one you've been on or what you actually... I think your nightmare date, Robin said, would be like, they take her to like a group sport event and she has to play like soccer.
Play softball.
Playing would be hard. I think like going to a sporting event is fun, but playing, no. I don't think it'd be a nightmare. I did have... This wasn't like a nightmare. It was just a normal date, but I did have a guy just... White guy, just let the N-word rip an hour in.
But you've actually had that, though. Before I was told not to. No. But you said...
Like, what?
When you went to New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, he was like telling a story in the context of like, I had mentioned... And maybe this was the wrong thing, but I had mentioned that I had done a comedy show not too long before where somebody had said the N-word, and it was a scandal. And I was explaining, because he was like...
Where was this? Or was it a secret?
This is at Comedy Fight Club 2 years ago. It's not. And it was like there was a thing going on, because like some people called them out, and then they didn't release it on their YouTube, but they did put it on Patreon. Which is,
they released them saying it on Patreon?
Yes.
Themselves?
They released the episode of the show with the slur in it on Patreon.
Was it necessary? As in, like, was it part of like?
No, it wasn't necessary.
God.
You could have cut it out. Anyway, not.
Sorry,
That's not what it's about. But I explained that story because he was like, I don't know, I'm so interested in what goes on in the comedy world, and I was like, I don't really know any scandal. I don't know. Someone said the N-word and people were mad, and he goes like, well, that's kind of like this episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia when, and then he like does the dialogue back and forth, and instead of just saying like
N-word,
he says it, and I'm like, oh, you're being very true to the script. Like,
well, he's a purist.
Yeah. So that was bad. That's just awkward when somebody does something that like is so clearly like socially unokay, and you just have to sit there and pretend it was fine. Because what am I gonna do? Be like, we can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be like, crazy.
Whoa.
This is something that would put Robin off. I've often talked about if a girl's really attractive and we're on a date, not a lot she could do that would make me not have sex with her.
Oh, there's so much.
If she'd say the M-word, I'm like, let's go to a closed area and continue this debate. I don't want to get beaten up for you. And don't worry, Robin, I won't make her come. Okay? That's my promise. She gets bad sex.
That's how you're doing your part.
Yeah. Fighting racism, one disappointed woman at a time.
When I finish,
African King.
I just start recounting, Martin Luther King after sex.
You turn and you're like, hey, you want to watch something? He's like, I have a dream.
Yeah.
But I think a bad, you know what it'd be, I did go on a really bad date once, and it was a first date that actually turned into a double date with his two friends who were dating, which I was actually like, okay, a little odd. I've never met this person, but if this is really the only way that you can make it work, then sure.
We mean turned in mid-date, or you planned it that?
Right, we planned to go by ourselves, and then he's like, oh, is it cool if my two friends...
But you're also now getting like 3-on-1.
Yeah, and so, but this guy is like... They're actually cool. The couple is cool. This guy is getting very drunk.
Oh.
And, and he's slurring his words, and he's being all touchy. And the other couple is like, like that. And then we go to another bar, and at this point he's too drunk and is just kind of crying about how his mom had cancer. And I'm trying to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm glad she's okay now, whatever. And then at a certain point they're like, you can just go. And I was like, all right, guys, like,
That's
thank
so
you.
That's
so
cool.
nice of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, you gotta get out of
Yeah.
here.
You know,
We'll
at
get
what
him
point
home.
do you have to... You walk past someone having a freak out in New York every second. I'm like, I'm not going to engage. How long before you're like, I really...
Well, we were in the whole group. They were like, I think they could tell that it was going south based on like his behavior. I think the girl was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So that
Girl
was...
looking out.
Yeah, that was like that is a very tough situation to navigate as the person who not only is like, it's tough enough when it's like you're the new partner meeting the person's friends. When you don't know the person either, you're like, I'm just at dinner with strangers and I don't really...
It also sucks because they have a group dynamic.
Yeah.
So you're a fourth wheel.
It weirdly it felt too intimate and also like just crazy, like I was just dropped into a random scenario.
Do you think when that happened, he was like happy to go on the date, then he was freaking out, was like, can you guys come as well?
Yeah.
I think it was honestly no, you want to know what it was? And this should have been a thing. He was a really big like Bears fan, and his best friend was too, and there was some game that was happening that he wanted to watch. So
there was a game as well on in the background?
Yeah.
And he was like watching it and just getting wasted and crying.
Yeah.
Man, that's rough. That is that's a nightmare for
You know
a
what?
date.
I forgot about that for a long time, and then I remembered that was in COVID. Yes.
Oh,
COVID dating was interesting.
Yeah. We met like right at the when things started to reopen.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like phase 2 of reopening. I'm gonna get back on the apps.
Nice.
And that's when we met.
Nice.
And then I locked her down. No problem. I mean, we're open, but kind of, she's half locked.
Yeah, locked.
I mean,
the key.
the chain is around, but there's no
Yeah,
lock.
it's locked in the ways that are important, the legal ways.
No. Speaking of first, I was going to do this on our one next, but I want to bring up our fake first date thing.
Sure.
So we every now and then will do like a first date. We'll pretend we don't know each other.
Cute.
Just to be like romantic. And I think I'm very good at staying in character. Robin, dog shit. Just a big point. So we go on this first date. There's a lot of red flags. This is literally last night. And we get back to her apartment. And then she goes, I'm going to have a shower. I'm like, okay. And
No, I did not say that. I said, would you like to brush your teeth and wash your genitals? And he said, yeah.
In fairness, that is the kind of thing you would say on a real first date as well.
Yeah.
But then you pop out of the bathroom naked, which is great. For a first date, I'm like, fantastic. And she goes, hey, could you do the litter?
You got
And you know what's funny? If I was on a real
scoop
first
my
date,
cat poops.
if I was a real first date, this is something women don't know but should know. The closer a guy gets to when he's about to have sex, the more crazy shit we will do that you tell
Like,
us.
could you hang this cabinet?
So, if you were literally like, because if you told me at the start of the date, I'm like, do not use me. But if you were like about to, and because in this theory, you're naked, you had to shower, I'm about to get laid. I was like, yeah, I'll do the cat litter, I guess. And then you went to feed the outside cats. Robin's very sweet, feeds it. So I'm sitting there while she feeds the outside cats. And then she also waits for me to open the door. And I was like, she's like, oh, right, sorry. And halfway through she gets a text, she goes, oh, by the way, John can't make the movie tomorrow. I'm like, Robin, we are in a first date.
That's funny.
Well,
That's
I
so
did
funny.
say pause before I said
Yeah, but that's not time out. Also, Robin wears a fanny pack to the date. Okay.
I did.
Cool. Woman who knows she's hands free. Good.
Show some respect for the art form of improv.
I think
Robin?
I came in essentially this outfit. I came in
Where'd
this
you guys
outfit.
go on your first date?
We went to Hank's in Bushwick.
I don't know where that is.
It's like a little outdoor bar. I haven't
It's
been
nice,
there before.
yeah.
It's nice.
It's
I
a
gave
nice
Robin
little bar.
options, and I was like, this one's close to your place, I think.
I And as I was getting ready, I was like, oh, I really don't want to go on this date. And I was like, if it were a real first date, I would have canceled. And then I showed up, and I knew I was blowing it. Like, I felt like if this were a real first date, this guy'd be like, I'm not calling this woman ever again.
No, you said that we were having fun. It was just the constant breaking of character.
But like, I was not presenting myself like in a very ladylike way.
Sure.
And
that is a challenge that I feel like I do have on first dates, and that is the problem of just being a comic and like. I'm bringing it back to the internet stuff again. I'm sorry. This is really on my mind because I'm trying to figure out how to like
make a show,
how to make art out of this. But it's they talk about like being in your feminine energy, and this is a clip that I do want to make of like you speak very softly, like you don't use harsh words. I want to be like, got it, and then just put in like 10 clips of me saying the most out of pocket roast jokes to men, and be like, I nailed it. I nailed it. But it's funny being a performer. I'm like, but I don't want to speak softly and delicately and be like, oh wow, that makes me. I like working in tech because it makes me feel like this. I'd be like, no, like.
The biggest problem I find with women being told to do a certain way to date is like it makes sense for men and pickup artists because if your only objective is to fuck a woman, then it doesn't matter if you have a connection with her.
It's a process. Yeah,
I mean, it's still bad for other reasons, but if your objection is to meet someone and fall in love with them, and you do that by pretending you're someone else consistently, like you're not going to achieve the actual objective. You can get someone to commit to you, but then you'll be in like a shitty relationship.
When we are dating, I will be making dick jokes, and if you don't like that, then it's boring, and also like we're not going to be in a good relationship. You know?
I mean, everyone does tone down at the beginning, but you're like, thank God, otherwise. Yeah.
I think the main things, if it were a real first date, aside from just not going at all, what I would have done differently is we were sitting like on these benches, and I just kind of felt good. I don't like sitting like a normal person. I don't like having my feet on the ground,
like
and my
getting
butt
cozy.
In a chair. Yeah, I don't know why. I just felt like it never feels comfortable. So I just put my feet on the. I just basically spread out on this bench, and I was like, if this were a real date, I wouldn't do that. I also
think you would have. And again, you do whatever you want. I would never tell a woman what to do. But it was a strange first date outfit choice, and because I was on the roof getting a seat for us, and I looked, and I saw Rob. I was like, okay, Robin's not taking this seriously. She was walking out.
She is wearing the outfit of a little boy.
When we first did it, we both got like really dressed up, and we didn't talk for the day, and we were like, and then this time Robin's like, what's up, shithead? There you go. Mama needs a drink.
I love that.
No, we'll get it back.
You get some seats. I'm gonna take a deuce. I got a big poop brewing.
I do think that for some guys they'd be like with a ring immediately. I do know some guys would be like, what do you do if a girl farted on a first date? They'd be like, fucking marry her. I don't know.
Yeah, any guy, and I have heard some guys who were like, it's gross when women fart. I'm like, get out of here.
Get a life, you loser.
Way to cut out the funnest part of a marriage.
You get married. I'm like, you can fart. Yeah. So you can do that.
So you can fart.
I have actually, though, I am someone who I was like seeing this guy for like 6 months, and I never farted or pooped in his apartment just because
not even farting in the bathroom is crazy.
No, although the only time we tried to use a butt plug, and I was like, I'm gonna shit my pants, and I had to run to the bathroom and take it out and be like, oh, like that.
Because that's a feeling, like it does.
Not letting a woman shit in your house. I mean, while butt play is an option.
No, it's not that he didn't let me. I was just like too scared to. That was like the one thing. But then I'm like, that's never happened. From now on, if I must, I must, and I will.
It's a great power move. Is like. Pre-clog the toilet. Don't let them know. And then be like, of course you can shit, and then it clogs. And then be like, this is never clogged. What did you do? Seriously?
I don't even poop. What did you do?
Hold on. My super is here with a few of the friends in the building. Come in here.
My super's an old Chinese guy. I'm gonna bring in 5 old Chinese guys to look at this.
Oh, and you're just hearing every second word.
They don't speak English, so you're gonna have to translate. Tell them what you did.
Tell them what you did.
Google Translate.
They're saying they've never seen this before.
You might need to act it out.
Okay, good exorcism here. I should do that to you one time.
Get an exorcist?
Yeah, no, as in
clog the toilet.
Clog the toilet. I mean, I do that all the time.
He clogs the toilet constantly. I don't even know how.
Kind of a big guy. No, I'm kidding. It's like, how tall are you? Let's just say I clog the toilet.
Once or twice.
Consistently.
A lot.
Clogged a urinal once, don't ask.
Whoa. That's a whole world I know nothing about.
Urinals, it's a blast. Oh, this is unrelated, but a lot of women don't know this. In a lot of bathrooms, less so now, but certainly when I was growing up, instead of urinals, it would be a trough.
Oh, I've heard of that.
And it's just a metal thing that's like.
I think they have that at stadiums and stuff.
Yeah. And you are.
And there's no. It's just
no
there's
dividers.
no separation.
And you're standing on a little grate. and the pee is just running underneath your feet.
Gross.
That is
Oh, that's so gross.
And you are like, if it's a stadium, it's really packed. You're shoulder to shoulder with guys.
Yeah, men. Wow, I'm sorry. We have civilized. I think is that all restrooms should just be stalls.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have
They
gender.
should all be all gender.
We shouldn't have gender bad because it's like just put
Just make
everybody
a
in a
bunch of
stall.
stalls.
But at a stadium, I get how the urinal thing
yeah.
quicks it up.
Because there's a lot of guys. Yeah.
I just think women shouldn't be using the bathroom at all.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
What'd you say?
As in being a man is like an exercise in just being dehumanized, or just like being less than, just being treated like an animal.
Go in there and eat out of it.
Go piss in a trough as the pee runs under your feet. Get be shoulder to shoulder with other men. And,
I didn't know that men didn't pull their pants all the way down at the urinal.
I'll tell you what.
I didn't have brothers,
That's really
so I
cute.
didn't know.
Heavily frowned upon.
Yeah.
But also like funny. Like if a guy did it, I'm like, oh, funny.
I've definitely heard from men of like, so I used to date a banker, and he was like, there's a guy in my office who's like pretty high up, and he pees at the urinal, and he will pull his pants all the way down to his ankles and take his shirt.
And put it under the chin.
Put it under his
the chin is so funny. That's
Put
full
his
on.
shirt under the
That's full on
chin,
5-year-old
and
kid.
would just like be peeing at the urinal in a public bathroom.
Did he just
with his
learn how?
colleagues? Yeah,
He just learned.
with his whole ass out and his
I
naked
know.
legs.
The t-shirt and the chin is worse
Yeah, the
because then
shirt-
you're like,
it's not a t-shirt. It's a
It's
blue
a-
button
it's a
up. He's
business
a
shirt.
banker. He's pulling it out from his vest and putting it.
he's like, now we're done with that. Let's
got unzipped his
destabilize the
vest
housing
and put
market.
his-
The first, as a consultant, you go to client site. The first time I was ever staffed on a client project, I was so nervous. And I was with my manager and the guy who runs my entire practice. And I was like, I have to use the bathroom. And then they were in a conference room and the bathrooms were right there. So they could saw me. I walked into the men's room, saw the urinals, immediately was like, oh my God. And then and my boss and his boss saw me do that. And luckily they were laughing. They're like, rough, like rough. That was so
day.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
You see the urinals, you're like, no, get away from me.
The other funny urinal thing is sometimes I don't know if it's like not disability, but like accessibility. They have a kids urinal,
Yeah.
and that's way lower. But often it's all full and there's no kids. So as a guy, you have to do the kids urinal, and you walk in, you're like,
You have to squat for it?
no, I'm squatting because it's so low.
You can't just aim?
I mean, I
low?
guess, but it's like then there's a lot of splash. Like, don't tell me how to
see.
pee.
No, I just
okay?
don't know. I'm like,
okay. Do we have enough time? Do you want to talk about how you know how to do urinals or not?
I know. Well, I know now.
What did you do with your
urinals.
kid? What did you do with your brother?
Okay, so I didn't grow up with a dad, so I didn't know a lot of And so my mom was a single mom, and I was like maybe 4. My brother would have been 2, and my sister would have been like baby.
Yeah.
And she had a sitter fall through or something, or my grandma couldn't come, so she took all of us to work. And this happened every once in a while. Her boss was pretty chill about it. My brother had to go to the bathroom, so I took him to the bathroom, and I knew that men use urinals. I didn't know the exact basics of what they use it for. But I just assumed pooping. Yeah. The most important thing.
Yeah.
So and it was like an adult urinal. So I made him stand on my back. I got on my hands and my knees underneath this urinal, and I made this little 2-year-old stand on my back and take a dump in the urinal.
Aww.
And then my mom
That's
got fired.
not.
Yeah, and then hold on, and then mom got fired. And the funniest part is, he did also have to pee, so she took him to the stall to pee.
Yeah, he abused but I didn't know.
And then you took him to the urinal.
No, that's not a fireable effect. You were 4 years old. You don't know.
No, but
I
I
think it
will
was
say,
more just like, you got to stop bringing your 3
Kid,
children.
yeah.
let me
to
tell you
work.
something. A turd appears in the urinal, someone's getting fired. Okay, that's a simple rule. No judge in the country is going to defend that
The
firing.
80s were crazy.
I'm kidding, but I think nowadays it would be like, well, why does this building not have better things for kids? And like you would be rude. And I'd give you one chance to shit.
Yeah,
down.
if it's a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, I would be like, okay, yeah, just teach them not to, or don't bring them to work
stop
anymore.
bringing
But
them.
like, yeah, that's not.
I think they were fine with that, but when they walked in and saw Robin eating it, that was the biggest problem. That's what. Okay, and on that note, I think that is an hour.
That was so fun.
Thank you so
for
much for
coming.
coming.
I had so much fun.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
where can people find you? What do you got coming up?
You can find me at Sarah Barnitt. That is my.
This will be out in like 5 weeks. So.
Yes. Okay. Actually, in 5 weeks, if anybody is in New Jersey, I'm headlining a comedy festival in Asbury Park, New Jersey. It's called the Ugly Pancake Comedy Festival, which I'm like, excellent, great. But it's gonna be. I think I'm doing a longer set out there, and then I perform all over the city. And if go to Roast Battle a lot, come to Grove 34.
Where can we follow you?
Follow me at Sarah Barnitt, and Sarah with an H, and Barnitt is spelled Barnitt.
Nice. All right.
yeah.
And we'll have the tags in there. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you next time.